Welcome back to the Sideline Report. Marvin Jackson here with Lou Holder, Donna Hopkins, and Solomon McGee. Let's start out with Donna. Let's discuss this upcoming game with the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, I mean, they got a scary quarterback, Kyler Murray, and he played for our new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. So, Donna, what do you see there? They also drafted Marvin Harrison, who has played well so far.
Yeah, they've got a strong offensive unit that the Commanders' defense have to go up. But look, the first 3 weeks or so, this team has had to face some solid quarterbacks. No different as far as Kyler Murray, as far as what he does. Kingsbury understands, knows him, so maybe that'll help some. But it doesn't. You have to be able to contain him. And like I said, Marvin Harrison, that's a dream come true wide receiver that everybody, but they've got weapons beyond Harrison on that offensive unit. And I think that the Commanders' offense and Arizona's offense matches each other as far as the explosiveness, because they've got a running game. Both teams have more balance. But this is a dangerous team because it's a short week that the Commanders have to get ready. They travel to Arizona right after that Cincinnati game so that they can already be there. So I think that was good for them. But to me, in this game, it's going to be as far as the Washington defense and being able to slow them down and cover well. And I think the Commanders defense plays too far off their secondary people, too far off their receivers. And Harrison is a physical receiver. And I keep mentioning him because we talk about Jaden Daniels being special. Harrison is special too.
On the receiving end. Yeah.
Yes,
Lou?
indeed.
Lou?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks that the Washington Commanders have faced so far, I mean, Baker Mayfield was a little elusive, but I mean, Jones and Burrow, I mean, they stood in the pocket. This is the first test that they're really going to have of somebody who is as nimble and runs around like Jaden Daniels does. So this defense already has some challenges, and to have a quarterback who can extend plays with his legs, that's just going to be very, very interesting. Again, as much as I'm praising Kingsbury, I'm looking at Witt to say, hey, look, how are you adjusting from week to week? Because I saw a couple times in the game against the Bengals that, you know, St. Juice is having some issues. Sanders still trying to figure some things out. I mean, there are going to be some growing pains there, but this is another test for that defense. I think the offense is that we all said they're clicking. They're going to be able to get some points. I can't see how this won't continue offensively if Kingsbury continues to do what he does. But that defense is really going to be a liability if it doesn't get fixed up soon.
Hey, Solomon, do you double team Marvin Harrison? I mean, you're old basketball player. You know how to double team. Do you double team Harrison, or do you just play it zone? How do you deal with that?
I'm gonna be honest. We could answer that right now with Stepherless. Steph Curry, you can't be in a zone with him, you're in trouble, or double team. So some people are just that, as we call them now, him. Marvin Harris is him. Double teaming him, that's just going to leave somebody else open. And like Donna said, they have a good, pretty much core, other than Marvin, they have a pretty good core receiver group. I'm just really worried about, like Lou said, is when Tyler is getting out the pocket scrambling, what's the containment going to be like? Because I feel like that's where our corners sometimes definitely get lost. If a quarterback is mobile, like Lou said, our corners definitely get lost, and it's like becomes a drill of like how Kelsey and Mahomes does. It's just like who can get open, and that's when we get punished. And definitely, like Lou, I agree with him with St. Juice. I don't know what's going on, and every week we make excuses for the kid, but I'm just like, they're punishing other corners except you. I mean, we see what's going on with Ford. We're seeing on with people getting benched. So I'm just like, he has to wake up because he's actually hurting us. And next week, if he plays like that, Marvin Harris will have over 100 yards.
So, Donna, do you think it's a good idea to play a zone with that quarterback being mobile like that? You don't want people, running down the field man to man and with their backs to the quarterback, right?
I think you've got to see what the Cardinals are dialing up. You've got to be able to throw zone in at times that where you have to. I mean, it's almost like they have to mix up whatever the Cardinals is throwing at them. They've got to be able to read a little bit better. But it comes up front. We knew that the secondary was going to be an issue going into the season, and it's still showing up game in and game out. But I like to see them blitz a little bit more than what they're doing, because you've got to be able to give them a little more help, because we know they don't have the personnel in the secondary. And if it's going to be a scary situation with this defense in trying to figure out the pass rushers. I mean, Jamin Davis was brought back up this week, and I didn't see him. Everybody seemed like that they were too quiet, but it's the passing that's going to cause the Commanders. So I like them to blitz a little bit, but if you blitz and you get beat, then you got people wide open there. But just a little bit of more pressure, to me, it's going to make all the world of difference. And it's just containing this quarterback. It's the key thing that you got to look at all games. So I don't know what Coach Witt is going to dial up against this, but it's got to be much better than what we've seen so far.
I like Jaden in this game because it seems to me that he is a competitor and he likes a challenge. And this week he's going against another really good quarterback who's a lot like him. And I think Jaden is going to want to show that he's the best guy on the field this Sunday. Let's talk about the games the NFC East teams played this past week. The Cowboys and the Ravens, and we always like to talk about the Ravens every week. The Ravens almost lost that game, though. I mean, they jumped way ahead of the Cowboys, and then they kind of let it slip away almost.
The Ravens let up off the gas a little bit. They finally was able to run Derrick Henry the way that they should have ran him. But, when you look at the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles still can't put the finger on what's going on with them. Barely pulled out a win, 15 points. That's not them. They can't score. The Eagles.
After seeing the Philadelphia Eagles play and actually seeing Dallas play, I was going to say that this was going to be a rebuilding year for us and us to get the pieces together. But after seeing what's going on, I like our chances even better now, just because I feel like Dallas, whether we think so or not, including taking their coach, they're missing a lot of pieces. We took their defensive coach. We took a lot of pieces. They're missing a lot of pieces, and it showed the other day that running game is boo-boo. Philly, they have a dominating defensive line, but I'm definitely thinking the mileage is coming on is coming on Jalen Hurts. He's not the same. Ever since that injury, he's not running the same. And I just noticed their receivers are kind of banged up. So and the Giants, I just don't really know what to say about the Giants. That's just a big question mark, just period, just because every year they do the same thing and they haven't gotten better. So after looking at the Ravens and the Cowboys play the other day, I can't wait for those two games when we play them now, just because I know that we can expose both teams. Just because at first I thought it was going to be a rebuilding year, like, okay, we got to get to know each other. The dark cloud as far as the ownership is from over us now. But I really feel good now, like we make some noise like the RG3 year that year and actually take it.
So Solomon, I got to temper you a little bit, brother. I mean, the rebuild still needs to happen. Even if the rest of the division is boo-boo, the rebuild still needs to happen because this whole roster needs to be turned upside down, and they can only do so much. This is the great part about it, is that what fans and the whole nation needs to understand is how many draft picks and how many things are stacked up for next year and the year after. I mean, yeah, you could get lightning in a bottle and you could have a weak division and then the Washington Commanders do something. But let's not kid ourselves. The rebuild still needs to happen because we've been down that road before, Solomon, Donna. We've all been down the road before. We do just enough to tease you that, well, this could be our year. No, it is not it's not going to be the year until all of those parts together. And we are not even taking into consideration the injury bug that could happen and will happen, and the whole thing about the league. I mean, now there's going to be tape out on certain things about Jaden, certain things about Terry, how they coordinate, how they work. So we've been down this road before. We really, really, really need to practice patience and not get too high and not get too low, and definitely not think about the other teams in the outside, and just think about this team and what they have to do in years 2 and 3 as Adam Peters builds this thing, because this whole thing needs to be turned around and turn around in a way that it can be successful for years to come, and not just a flash in the pan. We might win the division on an 8-8 or 9-8 record and not be, you know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Hold on, Lou. I got a little bit of hold of myself. Thanks, Lou.
We
You
just
woke
got
me back up.
seconds,
Thank you, because I kind of got over myself.
I know.
And you're right. You're right.
I had to bring you back to reality just a little bit.
Thank you. I smacked myself back. You're right.
And it's too early. And it's too early in the season because we've got too many games to play to try to figure out who's going to end up getting over the hump, who's going to end up tripping over their own feet. And right now in Philadelphia and Dallas are tripping a little bit, but Washington, you know what? That defense is the thing that still scares me for this Commanders team, because if they don't get it together, we've got some tough games coming up. We're on the road back to back, come home, and then go on the road again.
And and then when we come back, it's going to be against the Ravens in Baltimore when we come back on October 13th. That's going to be a huge game. And it's going to be a very interesting game to watch because Lamar and Jaden have similar styles. So thanks so much, everybody, for doing your thing, as you always do. And thanks, Solomon, for joining us. All right. So hopefully Washington will do well in Arizona against the Cardinals. And before we go, let's take a moment to send our condolences to former Washington linebacker London Fletcher and his family on the passing of his wife, Sharnae. Our prayers go out to them. Also, we lost Roy Clay Sr. at the age of 95. I co-authored his book, Unstoppable, a few years ago, and he was a Silicon Valley icon. He led the first computer division of Hewlett-Packard in 1965, a hidden figure, and I call him the godfather of Silicon Valley. His book is available at Amazon and other book outlets. I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time on the Sideline.